Hello there, this week I would like to share with you an important source of information if you are an 18th century music lover. I have a few books with me here on the table. They are all written by a man called Charles Burney. Charles Burney was an Englishman, a music historian, a musician and composer as well. He played harpsichord and organ. He had interest in other subjects, so he could have been considered like kind of a polymath, but his main thing really was music. So here on the table I have basically 5 books, but they really represent three works. I only have read fully this one here and part of this bottom one here. I haven't still touched the top one. So what are these books? These books are an important music history that he wrote, which is made by these 2 big volumes here, one bigger than the other. And the other books are, so this is one, his 2 volumes, but this is one work, and this is the other one. Are some tours that he did towards the end of the 18th century to gather information that wasn't available in England at the time, to be able to then write his history of music. So these are kind of diaries of his travels, and this one is the final result of his research. The history of music starts with an analysis and a study of ancient Greek music. I haven't read that part, but it seems that at the time there was a lot of interest in that type of ancient music. So he starts from there and goes up to the time when he published the book, which is the late 18th century. I have read only parts of it, and it's very interesting to see the opinion of an educated music man of the time about his contemporary composers, and also about the music from the past, even the generation just before him, just to get a perspective of how a musical critic would approach music from his own time and from the time before, and looking forward as well into the future. It's very interesting. Of course, it's like everything, one doesn't have to search in here for a truth, but for an opinion of an educated man of his time. And let's go to what I actually read, which was his musical tour in France and Italy. This other one here is his musical tour in Germany, but actually it includes the Netherlands as well, and I don't remember in detail all the countries he visited. And this book is great. The one I read about France and Italy is great. As soon as you start reading, you taste the directness with which Charles Burney accounts or basically tells us about his trip, and you penetrate in the mind of this 18th century person. It really is. It was for me when I read it like a type of time travel. You go and you see through the eyes of this person a musical reality, and not only musical, also because he talks about experiences that are outside the music, adventures and things like that happen during the trip. And it's certainly worth spending time reading these lines. What is fascinating about the most fascinating about this book I found was his encounters with important music figures of the past. It's almost as if he brings alive these music figures. Then, of course, is it exactly true what he says about these people? Is it anecdotes? Is it, one takes it as one wants, but the truth is that it's extremely interesting. So he meets people like the famous castrato singer Farinelli. He meets in the tour in Germany. I haven't read, but I have read those few lines where he talks about his encounter with C.P. Bach. He meets Mozart when Wolfgang Amadeus, and the father as well, but Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart when Mozart was a child. He meets the composer Baldassare Galuppi in Venice, and many others. And so it's extremely interesting to hear this it's almost as he puts words in the mouth of these people, and they come alive. I think they're all available on the International Music Library if you want a digital copy. It's much easier to find the tour in Italy and France in a printed copy. But when I went to look for this, they had in this shop in London, is a shop specialized in music books, both collectibles and non-collectibles, and there is some sheet music as well. And they had an original, like from the first printing, so late 18th century. And it was very interesting to see. If I remember right, it costed something around, I don't know, 600 pounds, that book. But it was very well preserved, and it was interesting to see an original copy of how a book would have looked when it came for the first time into print. I leave you with this for this week, and we'll see you next week with more music.